So warm welcome to all of you. This is a very focused panel discussion on the use of Gen AI for manufacturing industry specifically. For those who do not know me, and I expect a lot of you all to not know me, my name is Surojit Bose. I'm the co-founder and CEO of iFix Tech Global, along with my colleague Shubroto. We co-founded this company. And I would really like to thank Microsoft and Tech Data for the synergetic, thought process that they have had on this particular aspect of exploring GenAI for in the manufacturing sector. We feel as a company who've been talking to prospects and clients across the board, we feel very little is actually being explored in this area. So we wanted to take this opportunity to actually deep dive into this area, whether be it in the area of logistics, customer service, IT, finance, etc. And iFix Tech Global has substantial experience in some of these areas. So we thought we'll take advantage of our in-house domain knowledge along with some of the experts on this panel today um, to explore what really is explicit and implicit opportunities in this sector. I would now like to extend a warm welcome to all the panelists and our beloved moderator. So I'll begin with the moderator first. Vinay, he's we've known him for some time, has been an absolute champion of the startup community, and iFix is no exception to that. He's well known as a thought leader in the information technology industry, has served as a corporate CIO for Larsen and Toubro. I think you cannot get better in terms of a manufacturing giant in this country and across the globe. He's currently helping Heartfulness Institute with its technology refresh, has demonstrated a rich history of working in the manufacturing and construction industry. Vinay is experienced in next generation technologies such as AI, ML, RPA, IoT, enterprise software, and has actually managed large scale technology infrastructure for various large corporations. I'll now move on to the list of panelists for this afternoon's discussion. Sukanta Padi, and if some of my pronunciation is not accurate, it's unintended, and later on you can call me directly, and I'll be happy to, have all those abuses hurled at me. Sukanta is a former CIO at Yokohama Off-Highway Tires. It's incidentally, I began my career with Bridgestone Tires, and it's interesting to have him on board today. He's also been an SCM leader at Cummins India. He's also worked in leadership roles at Marico, Asian Paints, etc. So he's got a gamut of experience across various industries, and it's great to have him on board. He specializes in manufacturing, operations management, supply chain, order management, etc. One of the great things about having him on board is again he's managed large scale IT projects in the field of ERP, namely SAP, SCM solutions, as well as strategic IT management. A warm welcome to you, Sukanto.
Thank you. Thank you, Surajit.
Uh, the next panelist is Atul Date. Atul brings 3 decades of global experience across Asia and Europe. Currently, he leads the industrialization program at Versuni, a spin-off of Philips and Preeti, focused on small domestic appliances, overseeing all global factories. And I think he'll bring his unique perspective of demographic challenges as well. Driven by a passion for continuous improvement, he's actively seeking new opportunities in this space, increasingly leveraging AI. And his previous experience includes roles at Unilever, which is again, very interesting because they happen to be one of our first customers in iFix. Warm welcome to you, Atul, as well. Uh, Next, I'll move on to Jaideep Chakraborty. Jaideep is a seasoned business and digital transformation leader at Tata Steel Industrial Consulting with over 30 years of global experience. He drives the value transformation monetization program at Tata Steel, leveraging Industry 4.0, 5.0 technologies. His excuse me. He's held leadership roles in industry initiatives across manufacturing, engineering, natural resources, and he's led strategic digital transformation across the board. So it's wonderful to have Joydeep on board as well. Joydeep, warm welcome to you.
Thank you.
Last but definitely not the least, and typically I've seen whoever I introduce last kind of takes the limelight away. So warm welcome to you, Professor Shujyoke Paul. Of course, a lot of us know him as a professor of IIT Kharagpur. He's also the founder and chairperson of Center of Excellence in Advertising Management Technologies at IIT Kharagpur, which delivered many research initiatives currently in use of GRSE, RDCIS, and Tata Motors, etc. He's also a visiting professor at University of Huddersfield, UK, and University of Connecticut, and Lay University, USA. We would be hearing from him on how research-led GenAI initiatives actually benefits the manufacturing industries and how the same can be leveraged. So warm welcome to Professor Shurjo as well. And it's really a privilege to have all of you on board. And it's just not lip service, but something that we really mean from the bottom of the heart at iFix Tech Global. So with that, I would hand over the forum to Vinay. Vinay, it's all yours. The floor is yours. Please take over. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Thanks for the kind words for all of us. Hi, hello everybody. Let me first thank Subrata and Surajit for me having here with a beautiful set of people from industry and academia. And I'm really privileged and honored to be over here as a moderator. I don't know how much I'll be able to moderate what professor is going to say or my panelists highly accomplished panelists are going to do, but let me try my best how I can do it today. I'm sure there will be a lot to take away uh, by the audience over here. Uh, Surajit was telling me that I'm from manufacturing and project, but it is 20% of manufacturing and 80% of construction, that is project management. So I'll have a limited exposure for the core manufacturing, but nevertheless, probably Larsen Toubro is known as manufacturing and construction, then that is for sure. Guys, there's a lot of excitement, a lot of buzz going on with this new kid on the block called generative AI. And everybody is trying to do something about it, trying to figure out how this technology can really give benefits to us. Every seminar or every tech show you go is, I think, incomplete without GenAI, or GenAI is occupying a lot of space in all the national and global seminars or tech conferences happening over here. And now recently I was hearing about agentic AI, which is very helpful in decision-making process. Based on my experience in L&T for so many years, technology really needs a lot of hard work in terms of manpower, domain expertise, money, and patience to get some results out of it. And I think GenAI also is no exception. While we keep listening, hearing about how GenAI is getting better in understanding the context, uh, developing or generating some sort of, narratives or summarizing what has happened on the storylining. We are also hearing on healthcare, content development, content generation for education, and and all applications. What we are hearing mostly in that domain. Sometimes when I chat with my friends, is it really overhyped? Is it something really going to do for me? Okay, only time will tell when you have some practical applications. For many of my co-CIOs, they say that lots of prototypes, but really where business gives a lot of value to this, very few products are there in the market or usage are there in the market. There's also fear of job losses. Governments are also thinking about it, and etc. etc. But what is happening in manufacturing? Is really GenAI is going to do or going to have a lot of impact on manufacturing? I don't know. We have done some experimentation in Larsen Toubro where we could do summarization of contracts, some work in on supply chain, some work related to understanding, tenders. But it was a like lukewarm response from businesses. But here I would like to listen from my co-panelists as to how the core manufacturing, where can I do prediction of failures? Can I do a predictive maintenance? What is happening in quality control? What is happening in design? Is it really going to help in process design optimization? What about supply chain? And is it really going to help doing better decisions or a better product or more value for the customer? Is something happening there? Let's explore today. And I think some of my co-panelists, they're really from hardcore manufacturing. So let me start uh, from Atul. So Atul comes from a very matured, advanced country and working in core manufacturing with number of years experience. So what are you seeing happening in Netherlands and in Europe particular? How GenAI is impacting in manufacturing? Is there any fear of people going to lose jobs? Is there any great excitement? What are you seeing? And what do you see in the current year and coming next 1 to 2 years? I think it will be very helpful if you'll share your thoughts amongst all of us, and we're keen to hear you out. So let me invite Atul.
Thank you, Vinay. Firstly, thank you for inviting me into this panel discussion, and I'm excited to be here. Let me start with the geopolitical situation because everybody says, why are we doing manufacturing in developed markets? I think there are two realities which are very stark that we need to face. Every company, including mine, is looking at regionalization, and you can use different words, nearshoring, friendshoring, but with all the volatility that's happening in supply chain today, we are more and more looking at securing supply, and that means there is, no discussion. We need to have some certain quantity and quality of manufacturing base in Europe. And as you know, EU is expanding, and a lot of the manufacturing base of Europe is in Eastern Europe, sorry, and ours is in Romania. So that's fact one. The other fact is Europe's population is declining. And that's true even for Eastern Europe. What was supposed to be a great place, Poland, Romania, it's getting more and more difficult to get people into our factories. And even where there are people, factory business shifts, night shift is no longer sexy enough, and apologies for the word, for the young ones to join. So we have to find newer and newer ways to get them interested. This also leads to a huge problem of attrition. Even in our factory in Romania, we have people who come in, they like to work in the winter months where there's not much to do. And hence, this is a good way to make money, but a lot of them go away in the summer months where they can, get better paying jobs in Western Europe or do something else. So one of the things which we tried to do was trying to use a large language model for training. We have a really huge repository of training videos, training material, but that's all in Romanian. So initially, when our service provider, and it was another startup, we were trying to use a large language model to create a GenAI process of generating instantaneously the training required for an operator for a particular station. And we kind of hit the language barrier because it worked fantastic in English. But when we wanted to do it in Romanian, it kind of lost its strength in translation. And we had to pause the trial because our service provider said, give us a few months and we will come back. So we are still waiting for the comeback. But I have another example, which is not generative AI, but still very much relevant to our discussion. And this was around a new product that we were launching uh, earlier this year. And it's a fully automatic coffee machine, which is one of our big products. And in that machine, we have connections for steam and hot water. And of course, in the assembly line, our operators are putting in these connections. Because it's a safety issue, it's also a performance issue. These connections are tested with high pressure, and currently the circuit is designed for 3 times the pressure of what is the operating pressure because of this test requirement. However, as this new machine was being designed, 2 connections we could not test with the pressure because of the way the pressure was developing. And we were forced to make a choice whether we go into an alternative testing method or delay the launch where we have to redesign the circuit. And we then started experimenting with a camera-based testing protocol where we could test how the operator is fixing these connections and certifying the machine through the camera. And like any new tool, we had to go through the training route, learning process. There were quite a few false failures. So the operator would, especially in the night shift, switch off the camera because the machines would come back with a false failure. And then you have to go and train them. Hey, how critical this is. You can't be sending these machines out and those kind of things. But when you persevere, it works. And finally, we have a situation where the false failures are below 0.1%. And imagine we make close to 4 million machines in this factory. So 0.1% is also a lot of machines, but very much manageable because we then have to retest these machines. Uh, at the end of this process, we found a way to launch on time. We found a way not to delay. But more importantly, this tells us that in our next design, we can probably use the camera and reduce the cost of the circuit because the circuit is designed today at 12 bar, whereas operating pressure is 3 bar. And that means we can save material and cost of this circuit, which is a learning. And I think the key takeaway from this is if you focus these experiments on key business needs, they will work and they can be scaled up. But if you focus these experiments when a vendor reaches out to you and says, hey, I have this, can you try it? Then often it has the risk of running into an experiment and just landing up as a pilot and finishing it up there. So this is what I would, give just two learnings. Keep learning, keep experimenting, but experiment in the space that's relevant for your business. And that's my key takeout. The biggest push we are having in the next 2 years, Vinay, is indeed driving productivity. And that means we are now working on how we can train cobots through generative training, because one of our issues is our models on the line change very frequently. It's easier to train people. Once they know, they move very quickly, but it's painful to reprogram cobots. And we are trying to see if we could also train the cobots much more intuitively rather than just through reprogramming. So that's on our agenda. But I will
Excellent.
leave it here. Thank you.
So it is not the solution chasing a problem. It's a real problem for which a solution has to get designed. Excellent example. Excellent. Thank you, Atul. Thanks a lot
Thank
for
you.
giving insight. Yeah. So my next panelist to Sukanta. So Sukanta, you have a great career, worked in multiple companies. What are you seeing in the industry? What is your perspective? Is it limited only to prototypes, only experiments, and then switching off? Or what is really happening? What your experience says so? And if it is only prototypes, then what is the way forward? How manufacturing industries can really embrace this technology? Can we take away the fear or hesitations of implementing new technology? And again, the same question to you. As India, we have huge, manpower, uh, available manpower. So what happens to them if really the GenAI takes place in manufacturing industry? Will it disrupt? Can you unfold something to all of us? Over to
All
you,
right,
Sukant.
yeah, thank you, Vinay. Really, thank you, Subrat and Surajit, for having me here as one of the speakers. Uh, to your question, be it Chat GPT, I mean, your Gen AI, or for that matter, any AI or analytics projects. Uh, and a lot of companies I've seen it in mid-sized companies, unlike large multinationals. But some of the issues and challenges we face, at least as per my experience, and based on my own experience, as well as based on the experience of other similar industry, especially in the manufacturing domain. I'm going to list out some of the challenges which we're facing from pilot stage to really make it on scale. The first and foremost challenge, especially in the Indian context, while scaling up, is the availability of complete and accurate data. I mean, most of the companies I know lack clean, labeled, and structured data sets for training their AI models. I mean, I have limited experience in Gen AI specifically use cases, but I'm going to, I understand the similar problems are going to be there for Gen AI as well. In fact, much more, in much more complicated way. So, for example, when you do a pilot, it is a limited version of the use case, and the team is focused on getting clean data for that limited set of, say, machines, or limited set of products, or limited set of customers, or limited set of distribution centers. So the team is focused on that particular limited versions of the pilot, and they do a good job. And most often than not, the pilot is successful. They demonstrate the feasibility of the use case. So there are two things for the challenges which you are facing when you scale it up. But when they scale up, the efforts appear to be a daunting task in terms of, the collecting the data, make complete data and accurate data, level the data, right? So that's a looks like a daunting task, and they lose all their energy in, in the data collection and in that aspect. The second aspect of, especially on the manufacturing use cases, is the availability of domain specific data set. Let's say for predictive maintenance or quality or process optimization, you need a lot of these, sensor specific data. The most of the companies, here they face in terms of, when you're doing pilot, you can just go and measure those specific data on pressure, temperature, and all of that through their either digital or analog devices, collect the data, put it into the system, and you do generate that model. But when you are talking about scaling up, you need to really have investments in auto data capture, and not only auto data capture, but you need to also integrate those data into some middleware, like a manufacturing execution system. And believe me, manufacturing execution system is not a really a simple thing. It's a very complex project, integrating your PLC or SCADA or sensors and any other IoT devices to a middleware. And then based on that data, you need to contextualize the data, and then build your AI or Gen AI models. And that's where I think is the biggest challenge I have been facing, based on some 3, 4 MES implementations. Now the companies ask, why am I investing on MES? Because it's a very pretty expensive, investment. No, it's just for collecting the data. I need to utilize the data. So it's kind of a chicken and egg kind of a scenario. Should I invest in the infrastructure for collecting the data and then use it, or should I first start with a use case, understand the data, and then build the data capture mechanism? For example, I know of a company, they have started first investing mindlessly on the data capture. For every small steps in their manufacturing process, they invested to capture the data. But all of those processes, all of those operations really not important. So it's a chicken and egg. Should I start with a pilot and then invest in the data capture mechanism, or should I first invest in the data capture and mechanism and then do a use case. So it's a chicken and egg. I think this is one of the fundamental challenges which most of the mid-sized companies are facing, where they are very investment conscious. They don't have access to large funds. So that is, I think, a critical challenge which I have faced. In my experience, and I mean, I cannot say which one is the best thing, but in my experience, I've seen instead of mindlessly investing on the data capture mechanism, you need to start with the use case, as Atul was saying, which is business critical, where you do see a large opportunity. So you start with the use case, proof it, wait, have patience. It need not be like you just do a pilot and go to the scale up. You understand what are the critical data required for getting that optimum result, and then you invest in the data capture. But then alternate views available as well, like if you're not ready with auto capture data, then how are you going to optimize the data? So this is kind of a dilemma I've seen as an CIO faced, and as a companies and executives also face this kind of a dilemma. But it has to be case to case. First, that you need to have a very clear alignment. The CIO has to have a very clear alignment with the top management. I think that's one of the problems which I think there are many other challenges. Is The second challenge I would see is the efforts required to contextualize the data, and that to an ongoing basis. Because
Okay.
again, remember, pilot is a very specific, focused, limited version. Now, when you talk about scale up, you need these efforts for contextualizing the data on a continuing basis, and it takes time and efforts. So again, there is a kind of a drain out of the energy of the organization if they are not really, or thought about at the pilot stage what it takes to scale up. So planning for scale up simultaneously when you're doing the, what do you call, the pilot, is very, very important. And third thing I understand is that Gen AI specifically, again, as for my limited understanding and experience, is not very good at swimming through the structured data to generate the content. So I really don't know. I mean, most of my manufacturing use cases, AI is good enough, but Gen AI is okay. It's a conversational AI where, for example, the CEO wants to know, okay, why is my production down, right? Which are the equipments where you're having lower than the standard outputs, right? And what can be done through make the productivity up or the production up. Like, for example, there's another supply chain chief wants to know what are the products which are going out of stock and when. So through natural language, probably it can be made it conversational,
So,
but again, it comes to the same thing is of availability of, or the capability of the GenAI to swim through this structured data set. I think I have spoke enough on those two, three, challenges. I would love to take up some questions, so I would stop here and then, pass it on to the other panel members.
great insight, Sukanta. One challenge is very clear that for Gen AI or AI to work, we need clean data and enough data to design some good models which will give result consistent. And generative AI is more of unstructured data analysis than the structured data analysis. Still, we have to find solutions over there. So, moving to Jaideep, uh, Jaideep, you have a global experience from technology companies to now into hardcore manufacturing. And I suppose you have some secret sauce for making GenAI successful in manufacturing industries, which I think you have done a lot of work in Tata Steel. The audience will be very happy to, if you can share some of your thoughts, how you have really completed, not only completed, but actually showed a good ROI, computed the ROI and shown it the how GenAI can add value to it. I think I'm very keen to hear you out and so my panelists and also the audience uh, from you, Jaideep, and over to you.
Thanks, Vinay. So, in a nutshell, I would say that at Tata Steel, from the manufacturing industry perspective, we believe that GenAI is in early days. with a lot of promise, but they're probably on its hype cycle a little bit too. We say it from ROI of about $1.5 billion that we have, kind of generated over the last 5 years in narrow AI. So basically, AI we define as narrow AI and Gen AI. We call it extractive AI also at times, and which is the traditional AI, and the Gen AI, which is the new stuff. So we think that this whole concept of Gen AI is about content generation and content consumption. So basically, the way we are seeing Gen AI help narrow AI is that Gen AI starts from where narrow AI kind of probably yields itself and yields itself quite substantially. So in Tata Steel, like I said, the ROI has been $1.5 billion worth of benefits. When I say benefits, I talk about cost saving and revenue generation put together because as I was hearing my panelists, they're all saying that the any AI use case has to be business focused. I totally agree, and I go one step further. It has to be connected, business focused. So basically, we have delivered a connected enterprise at Tata Steel, which means connected operations, connected assets, connected people, and connected platforms or connected customers, basically. So we are trying to produce to a demand and not to a forecast, unlike any B2B organization. And AI has helped us a lot in this whole process. And time permitting, later on, I might cover a lot of things. But for the paucity of time, I'll stop here for that particular context. A couple of examples I would give here. Through Nano AI, we run our plants remotely through digital twins. We do condition-based maintenance. So basically, we know which machine is going to fail when and when to do the thing. So basically, predictive and prescriptive, we're done. All the about 3,000 odd critical assets of Tata Steel report through a particular command center in our IROC building, which we call it as Integrated Remote Operations Center. And basically, I am expanding this offer to anybody out here on the webinar to come and see us. We run a kind of a roadshow on that as well. To essentially create a connected enterprise, we have to have people, process, and technology work together. So having come from the technology perspective over the last 23 decades, but all through in manufacturing across discrete process, high tech, industrial, and now steel. I can clearly say that, it's about people and the process comes before technology. You can have a solution. The solution is great, but unless the people adapt it and they adopt it, you're not going to get the benefit. People adopting it and adapting to it, and without a particular process, being at its best, you can't even get the benefit. So people, process, and technology transformation is key. In terms of technology transformation for any AI, including Gen AI, we have to have the data first. The data has to go into a platform. That platform has to generate the insights. The insights can drive the narrow AI capabilities and then can augment the Gen AI. So in a nutshell, narrow AI tells you what the data tells you directly, but Gen AI tells you what the data does not tell you directly. It kind of creates the content based on the information available across the enterprise. So with that definition, I would now like to take up a few of the pointers that you opened up with in terms of predictive maintenance, quality, etc., and what we are doing in Tata Steel towards that. So coal price prediction is something very key to us. Raw materials is coal and iron ore. So talking about coal price prediction, we have done pretty well actually in there. In the price prediction, we have saved about, I would say, 68 crores worth of benefit that we have received over the last 5 years in terms of price prediction algorithms through narrow AI. And now, we are using Gen AI to kind of have the sentiment handle on that as well. So, what a particular person would like to see, so personalizing it a little bit in terms of for the planner buyer, personalizing it or contextualizing it to that particular geography where it's buying from, to the time of the year and stuff like that. So, so Gen AI, we are trying to use it that way. So that's in the supply chain space. In the predictive maintenance space, we are using GenAI for failure analysis. So basically, the narrow AI gives us all the data as to where to go, what to go with, and stuff like that. But in terms of the failure analysis, the human does that to a certain extent. Obviously, narrow AI does it to a great extent. But we're trying to use that particular context as well on GenAI, which is using a co-pilot to assist with the SOPs and guidelines and standards of the certain maintenance work. Um, on the prediction and the classification capabilities, we are moving towards small language models, agentic architecture, because as we all know, narrow AI is more data intensive. So if you can go with the small language models, probably the output will be much less data intensive, or rather contextual data intensive, which can give us a better and kind of a human-like result. For example, can you train a particular language model like a human? So today the human does the exception-based management. So can the and that human does the context exception-based management based on a lot of things which probably cannot be put into the business rule, which is lying in his head, and the sentiment analysis that that person has done and stuff like that. So can you punch it into that through GenAI? So that's something that we are trying in a big way. In terms of the quality control space, the aspects of data synthesis, for example, specifically for the images, like I said, we run our plants from a distance through a command center digital twin stuff. So basically, a lot of machine vision cameras in now, and obviously you can't put machine vision cameras across the board. So we put it in strategic locations, and we kind of trying to synthesize the data in between, so that we can reduce the number of cameras and kind of look at what is more readily available in terms of the problem that may come up, or the problem that's being brewing in there. So on the predictive model perspective, training the model how to see the data, good, bad, ugly, essentially using the techniques to project. Like I said, assuming you can teach a language model, allow it to look for the patterns based on what it has seen in the past. In an ROI context, a data analyst understands the variability, but in a GenAI context, can I use GenAI for a language model to understand the variability as well? So those are something that we are doing there. And just to summarize all of it, I have covered predictive quality process, supply chain, better decisions to a certain extent. I haven't covered HR processes, customer processes, other processes, automation like training and all. We are using a lot of GenAI, or try to use a lot of GenAI there, but those are a given. Anybody is kind of doing that today. So we are.
Thank
I have focused more on the shop floor aspect.
Oh,
Over to you.
great. Thank you, Jyoti, for sharing so many insights. I think everybody is too eager to listen to Professor, one of the most competitive person who has worked in theory and the practical applications both. I think there will be a lot to take away. So I would like to give sufficient time to Professor Paul on this discussions. Over to you, sir, because you are going to show us some slides and some exciting stuff. So over to
Yeah,
you.
yeah. So good evening to all of you, and thank you, Subrata, Surajit, Binoy, and everyone for inviting me over here. I'll just present a few slides to talk about the different aspects of the GenAI, why GenAI people are talking too much on this, and please let me know when the slide is visible to you.
Slides are visible. Carry on.
Yeah. So, I'll talk about the GenAI specific application to manufacturing, and my esteemed panelists, co-panelists have already told many things. Like Atul has given a very good example of the need for the training of the robots. The Sukanto has rightly pointed out the concern of scaling up or the data quality or the generalizations of the AI model from the prototype to the actual deployment. And Jaideep has also nicely talked about, giving many examples of what which Tata Steel at this moment, they're doing. Let us quickly look into this theory a little bit. Of course, I'll not take the complete class on GenAI, but I'll try to give you some idea of what exactly it is and what is the potential, where from it has been derived. GenAI is, first of all, GenAI is not the replacement of AI. Please do not consider it as a replacement. It is a complement. Like GenAI is a type of artificial intelligence model which has got the capability of creating new content in the form of text, images, videos, and signals. So the AI is very much powerful in analyzing the data, whereas the GenAI is very adept in creating the new content. That is the difference between these two things. So when we talk about that, it can create new content like the text, images, videos, and signals. We are all mostly from the engineering or the management background. We understand the meaning of these, the cases, like the situations or the examples for the industries. But it is not a new concept at all. If you see the genesis of the evolution, 1960, the MIT professor, the devised the first chatbot, Eliza, first chatbot. Of course, that first chatbot, it was very much, what I would say, it's sort of a pattern matching sort of thing. So it didn't have that much of intelligence power to extract the meaning and all. So 1960 came up, the concept came up. But 2014, the generative adversarial network, the GAN, when the GAN came up into the market or in the research, then people started thinking that what could be the next. So then 2017, the various transformation models, the Sukanto has talked about the scaling up concept, the contextualization concept, how those things can be deployed into the manufacturing domain for the large scale productions and all. And then from 2022, we are talking about the GenAI. Basically, we had started talking about the 2022 because it's a chat GPT. What does that mean? That means we can interact with through the platform and in the form of the natural language and get to know the answer. So in case of the many of the industries, I do not know, I don't want to understand what's happening. You tell me the answer. That's the approach. So if the mindset is like that, then the chat GPT concept will give you a lot of the mileage. Then obviously people started thinking, if we are living in the era or just started living in the era of 2022 with the chat GPT, what will be the next? So this is general thought process. But as I mentioned, the definition of the GenAI is creating the new content. You might be the very much eager to know that how the new content is generated. There are various concepts. If you see the evolution, 2013, the first variational autoencoder came up, then generative adversarial network, which is basically the I would say the contest between the two neural architecture to segregate the false images or the wrong images from the actual one. Then the transformer came up, very much, the chat GPT is one sort of a transformer model. Then the diffusion model is people have started working on. Then multimodal models, which is the actual manufacturing need, that how can I get to have the process or the process insight or the product insight from various modes, like from the text, from the images, from the videos, from the signals and all. So even though there are various avenues to create the new content, people are taking up the GPT concept. The concept is the most promising one. As I mentioned, that it is the interaction through the natural language, and it has got a very powerful logical reasoning, knowledge transfer, and text processing capabilities. Actually, the third point is the most important one, and that's why if you study the market, you'll get to see from 2023 to 2033. That means in a span of only 10 years, almost 10 billion US dollar is going to get invested into overall, the manufacturing, and out of which automobile and electronics are supposed to grow at the faster rate. I know from the audience, two of my, the friends, I would say, They are from the basic background is from the automobiles. So that will be they're more in much of interest, like how the GenAI concept can play important role in the automobiles. So having this, the genesis, having the different types of the processes through which we can create image, generate data, we can improve the quality of the data, we can create images or the videos from the text, we can convert from one from the other form. So various different anomaly detections. So different techniques are there under the broad umbrella of the GenAI. And that's why GenAI, people are thinking that it has got a real hope in the field of the manufacturing. So let us try to see that what are the value creation, even though some people, my co-panelists have already mentioned, touched upon some of the points, but let us see, slightly greater details, even though the time paucity is there. First thing is that the product design and, prototyping. People would be, interested to know that how the product, it will help the product design and manufacturing. If you see the chat GPT concept, if I type that design the circular object with some certain amount of the certain material and all, so it will automatically find out the what should be the texture of the material, what will be the color of the material. If I give the dimension, it will draw it, as I mentioned, the circular, so it will convert it to some numerical values. So in this way, what will happen is that it will give you the quick some raw geometry. So that's why, so if I ask that design a very primitive model of the bicycle, it will try to do that. But question is there whether the bicycle is properly designed or not. What is the authenticity of that? What is the trustworthiness of this design that the ChatGPT or other, the transformer model of the under the umbrella of the GenAI has produced? That is a concern. But still, the hope is definitely there, because it is only 2024, and the birth of the ChatGPT or the GPT families under the OpenAI, it has come from the 2022 only. Only 2 years is the line. Atul has mentioned about the robot training. It's a very pertinent the point, I would say. These days companies are looking for the automation. Automation means the usage of the robots and then PLC. Previously it was the PLC, now PLC plus the robot, and again people are trying to go ahead with the intelligent or the smart robots and all. When you are going to have multiple robots and to have the dynamic market situation, flexible manufacturing situation, that means all of a sudden in this production line, you may be having the different, altogether different products. So how a new robot is going to get trained? So is there any possibility of interacting with the robot through the natural language processing? Whether can I train a robot with a simple example, like one or two use, the example, just like a very intelligent person, student can understand from the hint of a supervisor. Similarly, can a robot understand from the hint given by its mentor or the co-worker? Similarly, the quality control and inspections, a lot of, the possibilities of the defining the or understanding the, failure situations and all. The Vinay has mentioned, Atul has also mentioned about the supply chain. Can I generate a new logistic plans to reduce the cost and delivery time? And some people have already talked about the conversational AI. It has got a tremendous, it's just like a chatbot. If I am in danger, I do not know what is the clue. Can I ask the chatbot to get to know that what could be the possible answer for that particular situation when I'm in the workshop floor? So the skill development, the ready-made answer, the management, the queries and all. And in addition to have a creation of the immersive environment, that means the data rich virtual environment to visualize what is going to happen and all. So it has got a, if you see the perspective, that's why I have given the first slide I've made, that what are the different ways you can create the content. If you study the mechanisms like the models, then we'll get to know that how these models can be leveraged into the different aspects of the manufacturing to bring the fruits or to have the quick return on investment. So the having this prospect since 2020, two, I'd say the entire global, the globe has started working. It's a very nice plot. You see the 2014, the topmost row, left hand side is the patent, generation, and right hand side is the research publication, because it's a research level at this moment, I'd say. So the new concept is coming up. The 2023, only on 9 years time, 15,000 patents have been globally filed, 15,000 patents on GenAI. And you see 35,000 papers purely on the GenAI scientific publications. There are many publications coming up. These are which are recorded, and this is a global scenario. India is also not sitting behind. India's ranks the sixth in the GenAI startup ecosystem globally. And if you see this, some people have started talking about the AI, how much AI is effective and what is the possibility. You see this figure, the 2023, the investment from the fully AI-based companies, 8% to 24%, 3%, three times, the doubling has three times, the growth in adoption of the AI under the, also that includes the GenAI activities in 1 year time. But is it really the in a situations to be deployed at this moment? Answer is partly yes, partly no. Some cases you can use it, but some cases it cannot use it. Answer is that please note a point: GenAI cannot compute. GenAI cannot compute. So if you want to have a proper product design, you must have the backend ML or the DL model onto the recommendations of the GenAI. GenAI is basically searching or contextualizing the various terms and all from the large number of the data sets. That's why the prediction comes up. But if you see the manufacturing, we are all from the manufacturing or the industrial background. We see that, and manufacturing encompasses the highly specialized and intricate data. Some people have told that the one process model of one process is also not directly deployed to be the for the similar process. It's almost similar, but there also we need to have a different the AI model. So specific technologies, regulatory framework, dynamic market and environmental conditions actually is needed to be discussed in the GenAI model to make it effective for the various product design, product line, quality control, supply chain and management. That's why the comprehension capabilities of the model is not there at this moment. So backend, as I mentioned, backend optimization models needed for computation on recommendations of the GPT, generative, pre-trained transformer models. Now, at IIT Kharagpur Center of Excellence in Advanced Manufacturing Technology, we have started long back. We have been working on the AI because this Center of Excellence is purely working on the industrial, AI deployment, primarily the AI deployment in the industry. The first research work is that, can I improve an image quality which is very poor, like the image taken by the webcam, and make it let's say the quality, improve that quality so that I can judge on the quality. We participated in the All India Basis AI competition organized by the India AI, which came up as the top 3 innovations in the country, which is ready to go to the market. So what does it mean? That means many times in the industry, we make mistake in deploying the costly infrastructure. Costly infrastructure mean 20% would be the AMC annual maintenance charge after completion of 1 year. So the 6th year, you are basically paying double. So can I make use of the low cost infrastructure specifically for country like ours, where the MSME, the manufacturing GDP is costly boosted by the micro, small and medium enterprises? So can I create the model or model? When I talk about the model, means I also include the infrastructure. That means infrastructure needed for the deployment of the GenAI model. So can I create such things for easy deployment or adaptations by the micro, small and medium enterprises? Answer is no. It's very much feeble. We always get attracted by the costly models or imported models, but hardly we work on the indigenizations so that we can take forward. And our Center of Excellence is primarily working on that. Recently, we they handed over a solution to the Tata Motor Jamshedpur, where the text of the tire, is read by the mobile app, and it detects and understands that what is the information mentioned, and then it is the information is stored, and then all sorts of analytics is has been done. There also we deployed GAN model, the generative adversarial network model, to create, because of the data paucity. The Sukanta has mentioned that the data paucity or the data scarcity is a concern. So can I create the data by the GenAI model, which will actually replicate the resemblance of the data, like the style of the data? And so if I tell any pattern. So it is we deployed the style GAN concept, very modern concept, into the Tata Motors, which has been recently handed over. They are working, they are just testing it. We also work on the hybrid GAN, and like the SR GAN, how to improve the image quality of the data, and the other things. So, and just this is the last slide I'd like to talk about. Then in addition to that, the GAN model, we are also have been working on the transformer model, like the variational autoencoder model, which I have told that, which is also the GAN model, like collecting the wave spectrum of from the continuous wavelet transform, and how that can be fed into the DL model and can be proved that it is better than the conventional CNN model and all. Now, I'll come back to the Atul's point, like the training of the robots. How can I make it more effective? How can it be made more fast? Because the training of a robot, training of any AI algorithm takes a lot of the data. Here it is in one shot observational learning based on the large language model, LLM. LLM OL stands for the one shot of the learning. Here what happens is that the robot is there. So there are two instances. Top figure is for the static, and then bottom one is the dynamic. So both these cases, robot has been just shown one or two times the video, and from that video, through the LLM model, it defines that what are the action plans, and then corresponding the code, and that code further refinement, it is fed back to the model. Now, two things are happening. One is that the prompt engineering, which is a concept in a LLM model. Another one is that the trustworthiness, like how do you create the prompt to get this answer? This is a concern. This is one sort of an engineering, the new term the coming up. And another thing is that what is the trustworthiness of this model? Like whatever the code it has, the LLM model has generated, how do I know whether it is good or bad? So that's why we need to work upon these factors, so that finally the robots can understand quickly from the one shot, and then picks up the job when it moves on the conveyor belt and does the operations. Question is that we are standing today in this era. What is next? What is future? Can can LLM model generate the image which I am thinking? Like if I'm thinking for some person, can LLM model exactly depicts that person or draws that figure of that person? Answer is partly yes. I'd give you some of the example that is called the brain computer interface BCI, which is a future multimodal type of the GenAI model. So we are, as of now, we have been effective in replicating a work called the dream diffusion. Like if you think something, if I'm think of a piano, through this EEG signal, which is getting captured, my thought process, and this EEG signal is passed to the dream diffusion model and generated that image. That means if I can think of, the Sachin Tendulkar at this moment, it would be able to draw at least some, the cricketer with the curly hair or something like that. But question is that if I can remove that noise, eliminate that noise, and can come up in future, definitely you can come up with the actual Sachin Tendulkar model, Sachin Tendulkar images. And in this regard, our Center of Excellence have been working a lot. So we are, as of now, we are able to segregate. The robot is able to understand what I am thinking. What I'm thinking, robot is able to understand. If I think of a red color object, robot is actually going to that red color object location, picks it up and place it. If you think yellow color, it does the same thing. So that means my thought process is getting captured through the EEG electroencephalogram headset, and we are doing a very sophisticated signal processing, analyzing that, and then doing it. Now, question is, if I pass through this EEG signal onto the GenAI model, in future, it may also be able to draw the object with the same color or not. Thank you so much. And these are the various
right.
other the activities which have worked on the AI. We have delivered solution TRL, all are TRL 9, almost TRL 9, so 9 solution. From the X-ray image, how can I apply the AI to find out the welding defect? This has been handed over to Garden Ridge, jointly certified by the Indian Register of Shipping, and they have been using it. And then the vibration data analytics to the RDCIs with Tata Consultancy, the welding defect and prediction and control, and then also the welding defect analysis from the ultrasound images. So this is, because of the time shortage, I thought that it would be the best way to give you some idea that what is actually the GenAI is and what is the potential and how we can leverage it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Paul. Dr. Paul, what a insightful presentation. Meaning, I think somebody would like to know much more should be spending a day in your lab, seeing your solutions developed by you. 10-15 minutes are not all sufficient to really know what is happening. What I loved about robotic LLM, meaning it is amazing concept where a robot can learn from what is happening over there, right? The second thing is that the EEG signals and the robot is doing the work based on picking signals from there. I start imagining of a design and the robot can do their design, or I think of machining and the robot can do machining. These are the futures, highly futuristic technologies we are going to cover. Thank you so much, Professor Pal. We have just overshoot our webinar by 1 minute. I don't know how much time we do have for questions, but there are very interesting questions coming up. I'll just put it up the questions. If anybody would like to pick up the questions and answer it, I'll be very happy. There are question like how generative AI can reduce manufacturing overheads like material waste in short term. Anybody would like to take it up? Okay, see, generative AI basically is.
I can respond to some extent, but I'm from the academic perspective and all. You see, the GenAI is giving you a recommendation. Is giving you a recommendation when you feed some information and all, and based on that, it is giving you a recommendation. So obviously, since this recommendation is also coming through a large number of the various types of the MLDL models through different search, the engines and all. So the effective or the thought, the recommendations, step by step recommendations will have some sort of a directions for the effective utilizations of the material. That would also be there, because the optimization, to some extent, optimization perspective will also be there. So it will definitely help in reducing the overhead, the cost, but how much it would be effective, that all depends on the industry. It is a case, the specific cases. That much I can tell from the academic perspective, but you can obviously the industry.
Yes, Vinay. So I can offer an industry perspective on this one. Like I was saying, it's about connected processes. So the material is basically, it kind of gets generated somewhere. The raw materials gets fed into the particular operations, etc. So while narrow AI can have given us the understanding of how the material is being used, our Gen AI can give us the SOPs and the different practices based on the knowledge within the organization as to what to do when something happens. So that is something with Gen AI that we are looking at, basically from the supply chain perspective. That's something that we are trying to look at. But like I said, it's in the early days, and we'll be very happy to cover more when we get some real results.
Just one point.
Yeah, I can.
Atul needs to step out for another meeting for his. So Atul, thank you so much for joining. Maybe we'll duel upon for another 3-4 minutes, and I'll touch base with you later. Thank you so much. It was a lovely
Thank
discussion.
you very much, and all the best to everybody.
Thank
Bye.
you.
All the best. Bye.
Yeah, I can add on to what Jaideep said, particularly in context of the material wastage reduction. Material wastage is also reducing the rejection or improving the yield in the process. Now, let's say, for example, a material is produced in a discrete manufacturing, a material is produced to alternate routing. And I can give an example, a tire is produced in 30 odd different types of, let's say, curing presses, right? And if you have a product manufactured in alternate routings and you have the data of the yield, let's say, the particular combination of press and product is giving you the optimum yield, I mean, minimum rejections, then when you can schedule it, I mean, not saying that it is a Gen AI use case, but it is an AI use case where you put in this algorithm to schedule those products specific to those presses where your yield is optimum, right? Of course, there is a conflicting objective of meeting your service levels and lead times, but definitely this is one use case which has already been in use for optimizing yield and productivity. The second one is, let's say you're having a defect. Suddenly, it's a combination of various material and you're suddenly finding there is a defect rate going up in a particular product machine combinations. Now, if you have the history of all the failures and the production manager can look at what are the possible causes, through the GPT technology, if you come to know that these are the possible causes of the rejections, instead of just doing trial and error, that can reduce the number of trial and error and therefore, solve that problem. I mean, I can think of these two practical cases for improving the reducing the waste.
Yeah, excellent, Sukant. I think it's a great answer. One question which I'm taking not from manufacturing, but it's a general question. What will be the IQ level or intellectual level, critical thinking for succeeding generation while they are exposed more and more to generative AI?
Less and less IQ. Anyway, that's the joke. But
no,
yeah.
I think that every technology has given us more time to think. I look back from the textile machines to today, the highly generative AI. I think no machines have taken away thinking capacity of people. It's the information availability was a problem. Generative AI is going to bridge the gap. It's up to us as to how we use our time productively and develop ourselves for doing new things. That's what I think in this way. If you want to sit, relax, and lie on the couch, you can do so. World will move forward. World is not going to stop.
So we need to go to the next level. That's the key thing.
So Vinay, can I offer a quick perspective in 30 seconds?
Please.
All our human minds are the best. We all know that. But the human minds can operate at its highest level only for a short duration. And these human minds work in segregation, not in together. So the machines, they have all the data sources attached to it. They have the business rules and the compute and the storage, everything. So they can operate 24/7 on this particular thing. So human and AI together can, really conquer the world. And as AI takes up more and more of this mundane, less mundane aspects, we can put our minds more towards philosophy and towards the thinking. And that's what has been our realization in Tata Steel. That's why the people transformation aspect is so important in our organization.
Yeah, I think it's a great answer, Jaideep. You're right. We keep working on multiple things as a human being where machine can be very focused on one thing. There's no emotion with the machine. The humans are always getting disturbed by the emotion. I think it was a great experience from industry to academia. The way we joined together, I think 1 hour was really insufficient for such discussions. More to come. And I think whenever I have time, I have decided to visit IIT Kharagpur to at least see what professor is doing in the lab. It is very, very exciting. And it's my personal interest to know how the world is moving with these new technologies in manufacturing. Subrata, I think all yours, and I'm okay to stop here. Surajit, if you are there, can you take back from me?
Yeah, I'll take it back. So some of the questions. So first of all, thank you all so much, Vinay, Professor Pal, Jaideep, Atul, who has left, and Sukanto. So it was a great interaction and good to see a lot of encouraging questions coming in. So thank you all so much from the participants' point of view. Some of the questions actually we could not answer because of shortage of time, but we will get back to you with very specific question, particularly Shampa, your user experience related things and few more from few others. And we have also given you a form where if you would like to touch base with any of the panelists or with us, you can fill in that form and send it to us. Akash will be in touch with you all. This is particularly for the participants, and we'll definitely would like to hear back from you about your feedback and your what is it that you are taking it forward. So I will say with that, thank you all so much for joining this afternoon session. I know it was quite challenging within 1 hour, but yes, we wanted to start somewhere because so many other things are also happening and see that there is a focus coming in from the GenAI perspective, also from the manufacturing side.
Yeah, Professor
Right,
Paul,
so-
your presentation is for public domain. I'll be very happy to have a copy for myself to later on
Yes,
see.
same here, Professor. Yes.
Yeah, so definitely I'll do that.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you,
Thank you all
everyone.
so
Thank you,
much.
guys.
Thank
Thanks a
you.
lot.
All the
Thank you
best.
so much.
Thanks a
Bye.
lot.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.